Everyone wants to be a lion. Most people just never get the chance. I'm offering you one now. I'm about to go on the run of a lifetime. But in 10 seconds, the bullet train leaves. And if you want to make money, climb the board.
Let's talk about finance lessons from the 12th and final episode of Billion Season 1, based on my experience at Goldman Sachs in New York City, and based on my work experience at the top hedge funds in the world. Now, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and stick around, because at the end of this video, I'm going to grade the episode for Wall Street Realism with a buy, hold, or sell rating. This episode is all about sales. Now, in this video, I'm going to teach you 16 sales tips based on episode 12 on how to sell anything, meaning selling yourself for a job or selling a product, as Bobby shows us that he can sell in this episode. And tip number 16 is the most important sales tip you can ever learn. Now, Bobby and Wags are about to meet with investors. So sales tip number 1 is clothing and cosmetics.
Do you know why we wear ties? To signify seriousness of purpose. Ours is not to question why, but to do.
Be the person you want to become. And the way you carry yourself is the way others will treat you. And people will respect you if you take the time to dress well. And so dress the way a person would one level above you in your job. And before you get promoted, you actually have to prove that you can do the job one level above you. And the way you dress is important, as strange as that sounds from a psychology perspective. Now, if you don't know what to wear, then look at the LinkedIn profile pictures of people at the company you're about to meet with. Or do what I do, which is I wear a tie, and then at the front desk on the ground floor, when I check in with security for the meeting, I ask the security person if they wear ties. If not, I take the tie off. Now, because we sell ourselves using Zoom in interviews, and when meeting with customers, a good Zoom setup will do the same thing for your career that a good Italian suit will do as well. And so make sure you've got good lighting, one light on each side here, and stand about 5 feet away from the wall so you don't cast shadows. And if you're just getting started, I recommend using Westcott Basics lighting, and I'll put the links to all this stuff in the description of this video. And please type any questions you have about audio, video, etc., and I'll answer all of them. Now, in terms of audio, I'm recommending using the Shure SM7B microphone you see right here, which is what Joe Rogan uses. Let me put this back up here. Okay, good. And you also need 2 other boxes and a cable to hook it up to your computer per this graphic you see right here. Or what you can do is you can get a Blue Yeti if you have a smaller budget. And what you can also do is you can put these cheap curtains on the wall that I bought over Amazon, and you can put them on top of the windows, of course, to block out the sound and light. Or you can put these things on the wall. They stick to the wall and they absorb the sound as well. And your iPhone or your Android handset might be better to use than your webcam. Now, when I've done TV interviews, someone always puts makeup on me because we're all shiny with lights. So what I recommend doing is go to the drugstore and ask somebody to get powder that matches your skin color. And then what you can do is you can, first of all, throw on a towel. I'm brutal at this. Throw on a towel, and then you put this on your face. Okay? Maybe I'm beautiful. Maybe it's Maybelline. Please, somebody tell me you got that joke. And I run out of these things quickly because my nose is huge. Okay. Also, get one of these things to get rid of lint, especially if you wear something dark like I am right now. Now, if your voice is not perfect that day, then what you can do is you can use Vocal Zone. And sometimes life all comes down to a few short moments. So nailing the meeting is crucial for your career. Now, is this the right time for Bobby to raise money?
But your life, acts, the fund's profile. You went from managing $10 billion in outside money to half that. All of it yours.
That's true. A year like that makes you question everything.
Not accurate. There's no way Axe would try to raise money after losing a lot of money in episode 11, and after the 9/11 scandal from episode 8 and the arrest of Dollar Bill in episode 5. You always want to strike when the iron is hot, right? That's when you sell. Like when your boss tells you, hey, you're doing a great job. Then you ask to meet with them to ask for a raise or promotion, as I explained in this video here. Now, when you're selling, understand who you are selling to. okay? So you can talk their language, so to speak. And so tip number 2 is to know your client.
That it's all about my why?
I don't get to think about business in such an esoteric manner. I have to evaluate risk, reward, return. That's it. And to that end, my people have a few questions.
Your Sharpe ratio's very low.
How does an idea turn into an investment at your shop?
What's your Mosaic theory at Axe Capital?
Know your client and think like the customer does, and Axe certainly does not here. So what is a Sharpe ratio in finance? Well, it means what your performance is relative to the amount of risk that you took on in your portfolio. And a higher Sharpe ratio is better. A Sharpe ratio above 1 is good, and if your Sharpe ratio is above 2, then you're a rock star. And please see this graphic here for the math behind the Sharpe ratio. Separately, this dude here mentioned, how does an idea turn into an investment? When you're selling, always bring your laptop and keep it in your bag. If they ask you for more details, like what is your investment process, then pull out your laptop or a binder to show your process. For example, I have a 100-step process for analyzing stocks that I give my students. And it's important to always quantify anything that you're selling. So I have a financial model here, and we value companies using multiple valuation methodologies. Now, many people will ask you, what is the bottom line? So make sure you can summarize your thoughts quickly and on a one-pager, if you can, a one-page executive summary, which I do on this tab here. And what you can do is you can print this out, and this is dummy data here. But here you have a summary of your target price, the fundamentals, the valuation, and the technical analysis. And if you're interviewing for a job, then you can put this one-pager, something like this, on the back of your resume. In fact, have many one-page templates in your bag in case you want to pull out an exhibit. And every battle is won before it's been fought. Now, if you're selling yourself in a one-on-one interview, then keep in mind that you want to help the other person. So how do you add value and help them when you're interviewing with them? Well, people are usually motivated by 3 things. Number 1, they want to make more money. Number 2, they want to get promoted. And number 3, they want to enjoy the people that they work with. So in your interview, be yourself and pretend you're meeting with your aunt or your uncle that you haven't seen in a long time. And be yourself because everybody else is taken. And your friends and family love you for being you. So just be you. Now, how do you help the interviewer make more money or get promoted? Well, bring one-page write-ups that help them. And right here are some examples that I give to my students in addition to the one-pager for pitching a stock. And if you're meeting with somebody in sales, then before your meeting, network and meet with 5 new potential customers of theirs and give them a piece of paper that has the 5 potential customers listed. How? Use LinkedIn to meet 5 potential customers before this meeting. And you might be thinking, hey, Chris, this is a lot of work for an interview or an informational interview. Then I ask you this, and I say this with love in my heart as always. How badly do you want that job or that customer? Now, if you're meeting with someone in operations or any other job function, then give them a one-pager on a cool new AI product that you've beta tested that might make their jobs easier, like a chatbot, for example. Separately, in the meeting Axe is having, an investor asked him about the Mosaic theory. And what this means is, how do you piece together information to come up with an investment idea, like the use of channel checks that we spoke about in this episode here? And this is a trick question for Axe, because the investor wants to know if Axe has a process, or does he just trade on insider information, which we know he does. So what's Axe's response to the Sharpe ratio question?
I'm sharp enough. But when I'm making decisions for you as well as me, that's when I'm twice as careful, twice as focused, because I cannot live with losing somebody else's money. That's my why.
Have you had your Carter Staley meeting yet? Is he allocating to you?
Accurate. The investor asked if another investor is allocating money to Axe Capital yet. And investors only want to invest if others do. And the same thing with an IPO. You know, investors only want to invest if others do, meaning how many times oversubscribed is that IPO? Tip number 3 is mentioning, if you can, reference customers. And for many startups, if you have one really well-known bank as an investor or a customer, then this really helps you sell your product. And it gives you instant credibility, and it might heavily influence other customers that want to buy your product to buy from you. Sales tip number 4. Confidence leads to perceived competence. So how do you build confidence before a sales pitch or an interview? Well, you tell yourself right before the meeting, I don't care if I get this job or this customer. And that will put your mind at ease. Now, I'm not saying to be rude or disingenuous, but do you remember that time that you went on a date and you were not yourself? It didn't really work out well, did it? But remember that time that you were so confident that you really didn't care if the person you asked out would say yes or no, and it worked out. And I know that sounds strange, but in sales or in dating, if you come across as desperate, it doesn't work out.
So you are that confident you can get back to the numbers you were at?
No doubt. I have meetings lined up all week.
Terrific.
Now, when you're selling, always talk to the decision maker and qualified leads. Otherwise, you're wasting your time.
Another whiff. Yep. It's that easy, you know they're not coming in.
Nope. Just there for the story.
Accurate. Many investors will take meetings with you, but you might be wasting your time. Why is that? Because very large investment allocators like pension funds or endowments have analysts whose jobs are to take 3 meetings per day for the 250 days they work each year, meaning 750 meetings per year. So that meeting is just a checkbox for them, and you're wasting your time with that meeting. So always talk to the decision maker. And this is why I always recommend that if you're just getting started and you want to raise capital, meet with high net worth investors and not an institution. Because with high net worth investors, the sales cycle is much shorter because the rich person is the decision maker. Separately, Wags is the COO and he wouldn't be carrying binders. The investor relations person at Axe Capital would, and the binders wouldn't be that big. In fact, as I explained in this episode about how to start a hedge fund, you want to bring a 1 to 10 page slide deck only, as less is more. Sales tip number 5, brag by quantifying your achievements. And if it feels uncomfortable for you to do so, you can always say, I humbly accomplished this, this, and this. And Bobby's not so humble, but he certainly brags.
Here's how simple it is. I've outperformed the S&P by 38.7% over the past 15 years.
Now, if you don't remind people of your accomplishments, they soon forget. Now, in reality, Axe would have said we've generated 38.7% in alpha over the past 15 years. And alpha means how much you outperform your benchmark by. Sales tip number 6, transparency builds trust.
The issue is the turmoil, the aspersions cast on my fund and me. I'm talking about 9/11, arrests, whether I run a clean shop.
Always mention the risks, as this builds trust with your customers. In fact, you can use ChatGPT to help you turn your weaknesses into a strength before your sales meeting or before your interview. For example, let's say that you got bad grades in school and you think that might be a weakness that is going to stop companies from hiring you. Well, your weakness is a strength. Watch this. In ChatGPT, I'm going to type this. I got bad grades in school because I had to work part-time jobs to pay for my tuition. Turn this weakness into a strength in 25 words. And ChatGPT says here, balancing part-time work and studies demonstrates strong time management, resilience, and a strong work ethic, providing my capability to thrive under challenging conditions. And you can also say that you learned how to accomplish so much more with less, and you can multitask as well. And my favorite qualities in somebody that I want to hire are they are poor, smart, and hungry. And everybody loves an underdog and not the entitled person. Quick side note. In my hand, I'm holding a semiconductor that almost destroyed Intel back in 1994 because there was an issue with calculations that had many decimal points that were wrong. And transparency builds trust. And so the late, great Dr. Andy Groves, the former CEO of Intel in 1994, immediately told the media and everybody about this problem. He went on all the finance talk shows to discuss the problem, and he offered an immediate refund or replacement for customers. And the unanticipated brilliance of this transparency strategy was that in 1994, people were watching this honest man on television talking about an issue with a product that powers computers that we never see because people didn't open computers back then. So he created free brand awareness and trust for a product that you can't see. And that was the first time many people ever heard of the Intel processor. Now, to learn more about this, please read my favorite strategy book called Only the Paranoid Survive by Dr. Andy Grove. Sales tip number 7, creating a sense of urgency when selling.
In the span of, say, what, a year? Nobody's gonna give about any of that. But the growth that you will have missed out on, that's gonna eat you from the inside.
Now, Bobby did a great job of passionately creating a sense of urgency to the prospect. Now, here's the prospect's response.
In a year's time, I'd be happy to revisit.
So when discussing a sense of urgency, we need to bring up the urgency of time, which is why online sales work well as coupons expire. And Bobby does this in this next clip, which is tip number 8, body language. And notice how Bobby is open and not closed by crossing his arms.
In a year's time, you're not gonna be able to get me on the phone. I'm about to go on the run of a lifetime. I am aligned. I feel it. And I know you can see it. I'm here. But in 10 seconds, the bullet train leaves. And if you want to make money, climb the board.
Tip number 9. The second you sense that the prospect is interested in buying, please stop selling immediately. Meaning, do not sell past the close. Because this is what they're thinking when you sell to them. Oh, I like this product. What he's saying makes a lot of sense to me. Wait a second. Why does he keep selling? I mean, am I a sucker? Why am I so lucky to be given this opportunity? What am I missing? I'm not buying. And as we saw earlier this season, when Chuck sold Bobby the plea deal, and Bobby was about to agree to become a family office, meaning he could only manage his own money. Then Chuck kept talking after the sale was almost closed, and this happened.
But you never trade securities again.
Tip number 10. Treat people like celebrities and celebrities like people, like Chuck does here with a new employee.
Welcome back, Lonnie.
Can't thank you enough. Please. Excellent.
Now, in 2016, when I worked in venture capital, I had dinner with the head of IBM government sales as I was introducing him to the CEO of one of my portfolio companies. And this IBM executive worked in the White House for President Bush's White House in the early 1990s. And so I asked this person, what made President Bush Sr. so successful? And for President Bush, as it is with all successful politicians, it comes down to having superb relationships. He told me that President Bush treats people like celebrities and celebrities like people. So learn as much as you can about people that you meet with by asking them questions. Let them talk about themselves and smile. People love it when you mention their names too. And people love talking about themselves, and they really appreciate it when you use their name in conversations. And treat all people you meet in business like good lifelong friends. And never jump right into business topics in a conversation, especially when you first meet them. And so always start with personal questions like, how was your weekend? Or do your children enjoy their new school? Or something that people love talking about, like their favorite sports teams, etc. Treat everybody like they're your friends and treat people like celebrities and celebrities like people. Tip number 11. When selling yourself to get better compensation, if you work in a volatile industry like a hedge fund, once you already plan on leaving, you have nothing to lose when asking for a material increase in salary.
I am so sorry to have doubted you.
What else are you prepared to do?
Your bonus. I was planning to give you $2 million. It just went up to $5 million.
Accurate. This is how some people get paid in finance. And I know this episode is a bit dramatic, But don't feel guilty about job turnover, as you are loyal to your family first. And remember, closed mouths don't get fed. Tip number 12, think like the customer and find something in common with them when bonding, as Bobby does in this next scene when trying to recruit Chuck's employee.
You're driven the way only someone brought up from nothing the way we were can be. Chuck Rhodes, for all his ambition, he can never need it the way we do. The guy's had a safety net all his life. You and me, we never had a net.
So sales tip number 13, and I don't like doing this, but one thing that Bobby does is he casts doubt in the current situation the prospect is in and sells the dream of improvement if the prospect buys what he is selling in order to destroy that doubt.
That attitude, that focus, that ability, it's not being fostered where you're at, is it? It's being thwarted, in fact. And eventually, what you're feeling will turn to disgust and self-hatred and, in the end, apathy.
Then after defining the pain, Bobby mentions the product that he is selling.
What's your cure? You know what it is. I'm offering challenging work. You'll be allowed to win, expected to, on your own terms. And of course, you'll be rewarded 7 figures, starting.
Bobby then goes into overdrive by not just selling the tangible product, which is money, but more importantly, he sells the intangible product, which is emotions. And this is a classic sales tactic. So for sales tip number 14, you say the benefit, which is money, and then the benefit of the benefit.
And an ability to help your family, really help them. Your mom, she won't have to work so hard. Not at all, unless she wants to.
And never just sell the product, also sell the benefit of that product, again, meaning the benefit of the benefit. And very seasoned sales reps also consider selling the benefit of the benefit of the benefit in order to close the sale. An example of this could be, if you buy the product, not only will it help you get a raise, but it will also give you the freedom to spend more time with your loved ones so you can get back time, which is the most valuable asset we have. Now, Bobby then sells the final benefit of the benefit, which is power, the ultimate currency. And this next scene is my favorite scene from season 1.
I stare at the lions at the zoo too. Doesn't mean I want to be one.
Sure it does. Everyone wants to be a lion. Most people just never get the chance. I'm offering you one now.
Genius scene. Tip number 15 is all I heard was not no.
I didn't hear no.
Remember that when selling. When you're selling yourself or a company, you keep selling and telling yourself over and over and over again, all I heard was not no. And if you hear no, it means not yet. Lastly, the most important tip, which is tip number 16, is to bond before business. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. And remember that person you met once, and you were in a very serious and not a social mood. And that really set the tone of the entire business relationship or lack thereof with that person. Now, a rookie mistake in business and in sales is to be too serious and start talking about business or the reason for your meeting right away. If you do that, then you lose that priceless chance of bonding with them in order to set the perfect first impression. And don't forget to smile. You know, Mother Teresa once said, "Let us all meet each other with a smile, for smile is the beginning of love." So in this first meeting, what do you talk about? Well, go to their X or Instagram profile and see who they follow. If they follow baseball, then find a way to discuss baseball. If they follow comedians or entertainers, bring that up in a natural and non-obvious way, of course. If they follow something that you are passionate about, then bring that up too. And you can also go to their LinkedIn profile and see if you have any connections in common with them. Or check out who they follow on LinkedIn or what groups they're in on LinkedIn. And I promise you that you will find something in common with them. And if you can't do this, then just read the top news websites that day so you can familiarize yourself with current events and talk about that during your first meeting with them, or just talk about the weather. And your best customers can become great friends of yours. And so get to know them well before conducting business. Ask them where they're from and what they love in life, and create a personal bond with them. And don't talk business until you get to know your customer or business partners. And relationships are always more important than product knowledge. Now, once you understand your customers and what their needs are, then you can tailor your product or service to fit their needs and help them with their goals. And you need to genuinely believe that your product or service will help them achieve their goals. Let's talk about grading of this episode for Wall Street Realism with a buy, hold, or sell rating. Now, the episode did a great job of showing us the process of raising capital. And although it's unlikely that a hedge fund would try to raise capital after incurring a massive loss in several PR scandals, the investor relations meetings were more or less realistic in terms of the questions asked about risk management, the Sharpe Ratio, etc. And the episode was also accurate about the lemmings nature of investors following each other. And the episode also did a great job of highlighting various sales techniques in investor meetings and in recruiting meetings, especially when it comes to pitching the benefit of the benefit strategy. As a result, I'm going to give this episode a buy rating. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you soon in our next reaction video when we react to episode 1 of season number 2. Quick side note also, I just found out that Billions, they're going to be making a bunch of spin-offs. They're looking at 4 right now. I think one of them is going to be called Trillions, another one's going to be called Millions, one is going to be based in Miami, and another one based in London. We don't know yet if the same cast is going to come back. Thank you. Hi, I'm Chris Haroun, and this MBA degree program is not what you think it is. It's better. This program is more than 25 years of business experience, all rolled into one easy-to-access online program. I've sold over 1 million courses in every single country. I've worked at Goldman Sachs. I have an MBA from Columbia University. And I've worked in the venture capital, hedge fund, and consulting industries. I've also started many companies, and my courses have been featured in Forbes, Business Insider, CNN, and NBC. If you're ready to nail your next interview, get a better job, get a raise, start that business you've always dreamt of, improve the one you currently run, or better manage your personal finances, then this MBA degree program is for you. I can't begin to tell you how comprehensive this program is. It's got everything, including more than 300 hours of on-demand video. I would have to do one of those dramatic opening title crawls from a certain space movie just to show you. And check out all the amazing reviews from students who have already enrolled in this MBA degree program. Last but not least, there is a 30-day, 100% money-back guarantee. And because you can access this program from any device, meaning a desktop computer or a laptop computer or a tablet or even your smartphone, it means you can comfortably fit it into your schedule. Even if you work full-time, it's no problem. So if you're ready to unlock the key to your potential, then I'll see you in class.